what's up, guys? We're back. We thought we'd do a little head-to-head here. Got a couple different combines going head-to-head on the same strip. We have a good idea which one's a little faster, but we'll let you guys be the judge. That's right, the audience is the judge today. So, that's Junior over there in that combine, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. That's Cody in the grain buggy, I think.
Cody in the grain buggy. What's up, Cody? Now, do they have like a sync situation where it matches the speed and syncs them up together?
That's called experience.
Okay. Oh, not the name of it. I gotcha. Yeah. You know, there's some unmentionable combines that had. I wasn't sure if others had that.
No, we've talked about trying that option through Ag Leader. But I don't know if we're going to do that this year or not yet.
I gotcha.
But it's just, we have really good grain buggy drivers. So,
yeah.
Cody's had about 8 years of experience of running one of them. So,
nice.
He does a nice job.
Yeah, I can tell.
So my auger is definitely not as long as the fence. So the fence are made to go on a 50-foot head.
Ooh.
Mine is not. So that you've got to be a lot closer to my head. And sometimes my steering, does a left turn Clyde situation sometimes. So we always got to be ready. So does Cody. So for some reason my auto steer does that hard kick to the left. We don't collide.
Yeah, that would be good because you got an extra large head too, don't you?
Yeah, so these are 40-foot heads. We used to run all 45-foot heads.
Wow.
We actually started seeing we was more efficient with 40-foot heads than we were at 45. We could run faster with them. We could run earlier in the day, and we could run later in the day also with the 40-foot head. So we kind of played around with that, and then we made the decision to go to all three 40-foot heads.
I got
2 years ago. So, if our bean yields were lower than 45 or a 50-foot head, we could be pretty efficient. But combines don't like taking in 70 to 100 plus bushel beans. It really puts them on their hands and knees. So we're a lot more efficient with the 40-foot. We don't have so much coming in.
I see.
The two on the fence are the Fendt ACO heads. The one on this one is a MacDon brand new FT1 draper.
Yeah, that's the one we got the good GoPro shot on.
Yeah, yep. So we run all drapers on these. So reason being, they're a lot more gentler than the drum augers. You don't have as much head loss. When we first switched to it, I think the industry standard was something like 2.5 bushel is what they claim to save a year. Claim to save a year. I just had somebody ask me that the other day. I don't know what it is now, but technology has came a long way. Last year I had a gearing off draper head, and it actually had an air system on it to blow the beans up onto the head and off the cutter bar to even save more. And I will say I was one of the best heads that I have ran on beans. It's like laying a rubber band on the ground. It contoured with the ground really, really well, and it kept all the beans off of the cutter bar with the air system.
Now, how do they do when beans are laying down? Do you ever get any lodging?
Oh yeah. So that's kind of why we pull the population back as much as we do.
Gotcha.
Lodging's a big concern. It's never fun. It's tough to pick them up. You really got to run your reel out there and down. So the reel on top of the grain table here, I can adjust, move it as far out as I want, or as far down as I need to go. These beans that we're in now are standing pretty well, so right now I'm just more or less using the reel just to kind of keep the feed, just keep it laying back into the draper. I don't want it slugging in, and that's the good thing about a draper belt is you can control your speed, so it's a constant feed into the feeder house. You don't have that constant no bean, and it really slugs and takes a lot of power away from your combine. You just want a constant feed.
I gotcha. Now these fields are huge out here, Cory. Well, you go for like a mile in one direction.
This is
What's that about?
This is a bigger area that we're in. Not all of our fields are this big, but we do have actually bigger fields. So just behind us is a 400-acre continuous field of corn. You know, in this area, yeah, they're big fields. You go out west, this would just be a garden for some guys.
That's true.
So it's all about perspective.
That's true. It's all relative too. Now, have you checked your field loss out the back of this combine? Walked behind it and made sure.
Yeah, we're doing really, really well with the loss. I think we got this Lexion machine is 2014, so I've had it for a long time. We actually had a fire back, I think around that time, 2015, I think is when the fire was, and we've had this combine ever since that. So this is the old Phoenix, you know, risen from the ashes Lexion. I've had it for a while. You know, it's pretty easy to set. You know, we just rebuilt everything this winter inside of her, so she's all freshened up and like a new machine now. So as far as loss out the back, you know, I've pretty much got it down on settings that I need, and we have hardly any loss out the back.
Now, do you have sensors too in here that are telling you?
Yeah. Yep. So we got, you know, the rotor, returns, and then the sieves, so I can watch those, you know, those three triangles, and you know, it's depending on the farmer's tolerance. You know, where do you have it? I run mine pretty aggressive because I don't want any loss. But what's that? We run that bushel plus. We got to run that sometime here.
Oh yeah, definitely got to run that.
So we'll put that on the head. I'm really interested on seeing that because I don't think we're going to have hardly any loss at all.
That's great. That's where you want it. Yeah, we love those guys. Bushel Plus, the yield loss system. Check your grain. Make sure you're not losing anything out the back. Nice, cool little electromagnetic drop pan. You just hit a button, and instead of having to throw in Tupperware out behind your combine or whatever pan you got to dangerously measure what you got coming out the back, it's much safer and much more accurate too.
That's a fact. It's pretty simple. When I first got it, me and Junior said a huge box that kind of looked overwhelming. Then once you look at it, it goes, okay, well, that's pretty simple.
Yeah.
I think we can handle that.
Yeah. There's this power line here.
All right, so you got a power line to the right of me, and then right underneath Junior right now.
Okay, got it. Definitely don't want to hit any power lines.
And then
today.
you're good as soon as we cross here.
I'm gonna go up a little bit. Yeah, that's the nice thing about flying out here. There's very few trees to get in the way. I like that. It's starting to get a little dark though. I might have to ISO up here a little bit.
Not as much as Kansas though. Kansas was the state where there was no trees.
That's
nothing.
True. There were no trees out there.
So if you're watching from Kansas, especially Southwest Kansas, man.
Yeah, no place to rest and eat your lunch. Unless you got a truck, of course.
Let's go deer hunting in an open area.
Yeah. Almost seems not fair for the deer.
Speaking of deer hunting, if Matt Miles is watching or watches this later, the challenge is on for the 2020 Big Buck. Come on.
Ooh, the gauntlet has been...
Let's see how big a buck you can harvest this year, Matt.
I like it. Yeah. Did you get one last year?
No, I did not.
Oh. Now you go every year, don't you?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I've never got one either. Killed a lot of time, though. Man, he is flying. How fast is he going in that thing?
Junior?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Oh, you can look.
He's not going that fast right now.
You guys have the craziest technology in these things.
3.8. Up to 4 now.
What do you do?
Dad over there is going almost 5.
Okay. What are you doing this one? Like 2.5?
No, I'm doing 3.
Okay.
3.5.
All right.
These winds are pretty good, so my combine, I could handle. There we go. I could handle about 4.5 miles per hour.
I got you.
Same job. We're all joining the same map, and now I'm downloading the scripts.
Mm-hmm.
So any trials that I had in this field, it will automatically overlay the harvest data on it. Different varieties that I have in this field will know exactly what the yield data is.
Wow, that's incredible.
As soon as we pull out, because you have to be disciplined to make sure you actually get good data. Yield monitors, they change, on the moisture in the crop, especially on corn. You can see them jumping around. The buggies are pretty consistent, so the buggies have scales too. We've been hauling some beans and corn in so we can calibrate against the semis, and we were 0.003% off.
Oh wow.
So they are really, really accurate. And then so we recalibrated the combines to make sure they were still on, and I was within 20 pounds of the grain buggy scales. So
it sounds really good.
But it's something that we have to do like once a week. So calibrating these going to keep it that accurate, or else it can make a product look better than what it is or worse than what it is, and we just don't want that. We spent too much time and effort and money and having all these trials, so we got to make sure that everybody is disciplined enough to take the time to make sure it's good data and it's right. And it becomes a pain sometimes for Dad, Junior, me, Cody, and Poe, and everybody else when you're constantly, calibrating and checking everything. But it's something that we have to do.
Now, are all yield monitors created equally?
No.
Even with the calibration?
No, God, no. So,
okay. Tell me more about that.
We've had about every single yield monitor out there. I won't say everyone, but we've tried a lot.
Yeah.
And it's just hard to get consistent data, so that's one of the main reasons why we went to scales on the grain buggy.
Oh.
And ever since we've had them, so they have 5 scales. And they're on tracks. So you have a back right, a front right, back left, front left, and then you have a tongue scale.
Wow.
So it's a 5-head, and we use a J&M iFarm system. So it goes right to the cloud. I can actually pull it up on my phone right now from here and see exactly what that buggy is saying.
Oh, that's so cool.
So that makes it nice. We can see exactly how many bushels, the field-made wet bushels, dry bushels. It also has its own moisture sensor on it, and it will take about, so it holds 1,100 bushels. So in that 1,100 bushels, it'll probably do about 10 to 11 readings of the moisture. They'll give you an average for that load.
Wow.
And that's something else that we can compare to when we go to Dayton. But we modified ours to put it on the end spout, so that way it can dump out faster, so we can get that many readings. So we changed our design a little bit on those, but we love them. But back to the yield monitor side of things, the ones that we run are the impact sensors.
Okay.
And they do a really, really nice job. You have some that have the eye sensors on them. I'm not a real big fan on those because you constantly got to keep them clean. So what they're doing is really watching the density. Any clearance that breaks that laser, that's what it's going to see. You might see a lot of guys, that kind of like what I just did there, jam the throttle forward. That's normally when they have their phone ready and they're going to take a picture of the yield monitor and say, "Look at this corn." Well, I like to call them Facebook farmers.
Right.
But or if you're watching a video and they're videoing their corn dumping from 450 bushel to 250 bushel, all within 10 seconds, it's false data.
I see.
It makes it pretty cool for your videos you take, you watch it. Cause some people might not know the difference, but it should be a gradual climb up and a gradual climb down. You want to see that. The reason why it's so important for us to have a good accurate system.
Come out beside you, Cory. Go get Junior.
A good accurate system is because we don't take the time to scale out the grain buggies to be able to know which product did what, because we're all automated, so I can run it all from the combine. So I have to have the combines matching the grain buggies to a T, and that's where it gets difficult to have all 3 of these combines matching perfectly to the grain buggies, because if me and Junior does it right and Dad's combine goes haywire and he's off, well, whatever trial he runs is now going to have screwed data.
Right.
So it's so important to have it. The impact sensor has been the most accurate one. So what an impact sensor means, if you don't know, it actually sits on top of the clean elevator leg. So when that crop comes around, it's actually hitting a sensor. So it measures it that way.
That's cool. So and that's as opposed to a
to like an eye.
Yeah, that's
it's like an eye sensor.
Those are the ones you got to clean off all the time.
Correct. So dust, residue. If you're running a bunch of green material, whether it's green corn or green leaves, it can smear, it can shadow it, make it darker than what it is, so it thinks the yield's higher than what it actually is.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And for us, I mean, we're selling a lot of bushels out of the field, so the yield's better than what we thought, or less than what we thought. We got to be able to know to be able to shuffle bushels around. So if we're being lied to by our technology, it's costing us huge money.
For sure.
So we've got to be accurate. And that's what I love about farming right now. It's really turned into a young man's game.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many computers on board.
Yeah.
I mean, right now in this fence, Junior's got 2 iPads and 2 other screens in there. So, there's so much stuff going on with these computers. I've got 3 screens running just on this one. So, everybody likes to look at the planting side of things, with all the technology, but we carry everything from fertilizing to the anhydrous, to planting, to harvest, spraying. We carry the same system with the same data all the way through. We want to be as about automated as you can be to capture the best data. Then we can just have layers and layers of the maps. As soon as harvest is done, that's when we're going to start figuring out what worked, what didn't, and where do we go from there.
That's right.
Laying out the plans.
You got to have a plan. If you want to get something done and you want to be good at it, word on the street is you got to have a plan.
That and capture data. That's
totally.
There's so much technology right now out there at your fingertips, but just don't capture it to say that you captured it. Actually do something with it. Use it.
That's right.
Make your farm better with it. It's just time and discipline. I say it many times. A lot of people ask, well, how do you think those guys are growing 400, 500 bushel corn? They're great at what they do, but the biggest thing is just attention to detail that all these guys have. Yeah. Now you're bringing on a show with guys growing 150 bushel beans. That's nuts.
Yeah.
I'm on the show. I'm also a huge fan of the show because it's just neat to watch because it's so meticulous and just details. You just don't wake up one morning and decide you're going to have 400 plus bushel corn or 100 plus bushel beans. That takes time and effort.
It's a lot of work. We had a friend, one of our fans ask, and I know you already mentioned it, but I think you just tuned in on the second video. What hybrid again is in this field?
So,
if you don't mind sharing.
Yeah, no problem. Sorry, Dougco and Tape. This is Asgrow 37X9. So, we have actually 2 different varieties around mixed on all these farms. We have the 37XOs and the 37X9s. And that's because Reed and Roy thought the XOs would be better. And I proudly like to tell them, in case they watch this video, they were wrong.
Oh.
The X9s are out yielding the XOs about 10 bushel average right now.
Oh, snap.
We still got more to go, but I just wanted to let you know, Reed.
It's fun. Data doesn't lie.
Not yet.
That's right. So we're following him around in this field. So he set up the lines first before you get in here, and then you just...
No, so right now we're just opening up the field, so we're going to take 3 laps.
I see.
So Dad is entering the field now, so he's right behind us.
Oh, let's check him out.
He's just entered, he's actually loaded up.
Where's he at?
And all 3 of us, 1 lap around, that'll open it up, and then... Which the first combine will set the AB line, and then he will save it, Once the AB line's saved, the rest of us can jump on it.
Uh-oh. Alright guys, looks like we got another dead battery here, but we got some more stuff to talk about, so we're going to cut for now, and we'll be back.